Okay, I'm here once again to set the record straight, this time on the Obama-Iraq War record. The Obama campaign is truly stooping to new lows today. Now the campaign, through their surrogate, Dick Durbin, is claiming that Hillary Clinton's remarks on Obama's record concerning the Iraq War are somehow like the Swift boat ads run against John Kerry in 2004. Okay, here's the reality check. The Swift boat ads against Senator Kerry were completely untrue. There was nothing to back them up. On the contrary, the contrast that Senator Clinton has been making on Senator Obama's positions, both present and past, on the Iraq War are 100% true, and the evidence to back them up is as follows. The first thing, in 2004, Barack Obama clearly said that he did not know how he would have voted had he been in the U.S. Senate at the time of the vote for the Iraq War. Here's a quote from the New York Times. When asked about Senators Kerry and Edwards' votes on the Iraq War, Obama said, "I'm not privy to Senate intelligence reports. What would I have done? I don't know. What I know is that from my vantage point, the case was not made." End quote. Number two, Obama also said that there was not much difference between his positions on the war and those of George Bush. Here's another quote. On Iraq, on paper, there's not as much difference, I think, between the Bush administration and the Kerry administration. There's not much of a difference between my position and George Bush's position. That's from the Chicago Tribune on July 27, 2004. Number three. Okay, here's a fact. Until Barack Obama began his presidential campaign, before he began running for president, he voted for every single war funding bill. Even though, while he was running for the U.S. Senate in 2004, he told his constituents that he would not vote for the Iraq War and he would not vote for funding. Number four, once Obama got in the U.S. Senate, once he had a chance to stand up and make a difference, he did. In fact, he waited 1 year, 1.5 years, to give a speech on Iraq. It took him a year and a half to make just one speech concerning Iraq. And ironically enough, it was one where he opposed a timetable for withdrawal, which was in a bill put forth by Senator John Kerry. Here's a quote from the Obama speech. This is from June 21st, 2006. Quote, "I'm also acutely aware that a precipitous withdrawal of our troops, driven by congressional edict rather than the realities on the ground, will not undo the mistakes made by this administration. It could compound them." End quote. So again, Obama saying that Congress shouldn't control withdrawals. He says that Congress controlling withdrawals would compound the problems made by the Bush administration. But of course now since he's running for president, he thinks Congress should impose withdrawals. And finally, number five. Obama has based his entire campaign on the premise that he was always opposed to the war, and that his opposition for the last 5 years has been vastly different from that of Senator Clinton. But again, the fact is that once he got in the Senate, he voted the exact same way as Senator Clinton did. Here's a quote from ABC News from May 17th of last year. Quote, "In fact, Obama's Senate voting record on Iraq is nearly identical to Clinton's. Over the 2 years Obama has been in the Senate, the only Iraq-related vote on which they differed was the confirmation of General George Casey to be the Chief of Staff of the Army, which Obama voted for and Clinton voted against." End quote. And to be honest, I don't even know if you could consider a vote for the Chief of Staff of the Army to be particularly an Iraq war vote. And other than that, every single vote that Obama has cast in the U.S. Senate has been identical to Senator Clinton's. So there's my 5 points of evidence. Now here's my take, okay? Senator Obama is being clearly disingenuous when describing his position. Okay? No one, not myself, not the Clinton campaign, no one is claiming that the speech he made in the Illinois State Senate in 2002 wasn't in opposition to the war. It was. And good for him that he was opposed to the war in 2002. But the fact is, that was a speech, okay? When Obama had the chance to turn rhetoric into reality and talk into actions, that is, once he got elected to the U.S. Senate, he failed to do so. You know, this further illustrates the point that I've made in past videos that Obama always talks a good talk, you know, but when it comes to enacting measures, when it comes to turning a good talk into actual actions, he fails. In 2005, when his Senate term began, Obama did absolutely nothing to change the course of war in Iraq. But now that he's running for president, he's based his entire campaign on the fact that he claims he was against the war all the time. Well, sure, he was against the war. Senator Clinton was also against the war, but he still voted to fund it. You know, it's not about a speech you make, it's about how you act once you have the power. So to say that he is somehow different from Senator Clinton, that's just not true. The facts prove otherwise. So when people say that Obama should be president because he was always against the war, you just have to look at the facts. You just have to look at the record to know that that's not true. If you want to vote for Barack Obama on other issues, hey, that's what makes America so great. You can do that. But it's wrong for the Obama campaign and the media who just goes along with the Obama campaign to say that Senator Clinton and Barack Obama are different on the war. They're just not. So I ask, when you're casting your vote, think about that. And think about the facts. But most importantly, think of the big picture. That words don't equal reality. You actually have to bring about change. You have to have a record of bringing about change. You have to know how to not just talk a good talk, but walk a good walk. Because you're not just going to be able to go into Washington and give a speech, and then all the interests, all the oppositions are just going to lay down and bow at your feet. It's just not going to happen. It takes more than a speech, as I think I've just proven, to get things done. It takes a record, and it takes actions. So just think about that when casting your vote.